Hi, I'm Deborah Robin. I'm playing Lucy in P3 Theater Company's production of Jekyll and Hyde, a one-night only fundraising event. If you'd like to learn more about this special event, here's an interview.
So the first question is, when did you first fall in love with theater? Why would you have to be part of the theater world?
I think I've been in love with theater my whole life. I think my mom says when I was a baby, because my father was a minister, so I was brought up in church. So as soon as I could sit up, she would sit with me in her lap in church. And as soon as the music would start, I would just start rocking back and forth like this in time to the music. And then when I could start moving my body and walking, I was dancing and then singing. So I was performing at home before I even knew what theater was. But as soon as I attended theater, I think the first time I remember going to the theater as a family, even though I probably saw school productions and things before that I was in London, where we lived for a while. We went to the pantomime. It was a production of Snow White, and everything, I think I told you about this before, it was just everything about the experience was magical. The lobby, the way everything smelled, the colors, and because it was pantomime, they really encouraged the audience to participate. They brought children on stage, and watching the audience's joy in response to what they were witnessing, everything about that was pure magic to me. So I knew that that was something that I wanted to be a part of someday. And even though as I've grown up and become an adult, it's never left me. So once I started performing, I've never really taken a long break, except right after I had my children. I took a number of years off to be a mom because that took all my time. But I've pretty much been performing since I was a child in some capacity.
Well, to add on to that, when did you fall in love with acting and singing? And when did it go from an interest to an obsession?
That's a great question. I think I've always been kind of obsessed with singing and dancing and performing and combining it all together, specifically in the realm of musical theater. I don't think it's ever been something that was casual for me, but I also don't think it ever occurred to me that this was something I could do for a living until I was in college. It wasn't something that I grew up thinking I could support myself doing entirely. I thought for a long time I'd be a teacher, and now I am a teacher. I teach acting and singing, so I can combine all of my loves. I don't know that it ever went from being an interest to an obsession. I think it's always been something that I've been really passionate about. I just didn't have enough confidence in myself to think this was something that I could really do and that that I had a place in.
And because you've always been in theater, why is a theater experience such a unique format than anything else, TV and movies? Why is theater such a unique experience to the audience and to the actors?
I think that's actually the answer to the question. I think that theater is such a unique experience because of the people that are involved, because there is an audience and people on stage. As performers, we're not just performing for a big blank canvas. There are real humans with emotions and thoughts and feelings who are responding to us. And even if the audience is silent, we feel their energy very much. So what is happening on stage, I feel, is very much a co-creation that we're all making together. The audience and the people on the stage and the performers. And that's why every performance is different, because what every audience is offering energetically and the people on stage, it's going to be different every time. It's a unique artistic creation that we're all in together. It's very exciting.
And to add on to that, why are musicals even a more unique audience experience to go to? And why are they so popular?
Well, that's another great question. Musicals, so I've done both. I've done straight plays and musicals. And for a long time, up until I was probably in college, I did my first musical in college. And I was an English literature major. I studied theater, so classical theater like Shakespeare, Chekhov, Ibsen. And I also studied singing like opera, but I never thought that I could combine the two. I didn't think that I had a place in musical theater, even though I loved it. I didn't think I belonged there. But when I did my first musical, I realized I was able to combine everything that I loved. And I'm paraphrasing, but you've heard the phrase, something along the lines of when our emotions become so great, words do not suffice. And so we sing. And even more so, when even singing cannot suffice, we move, we dance to express how we're feeling. So I think it's it intensifies everything that's happening on stage. When we sing a song on stage, it's because simple words alone are not enough to express how we're feeling. So we have to sing it.
And my last generic question, but because both you and Chris have been involved with this theater, tell me about P3 Theater Company. Why do you like working with this theater company? And why is it an unique theater to work with?
I love working with P3 Theater Company because of the people involved. Every single one of them are an absolute jewel. Everyone is very kind and professional and thoughtful and enthusiastic. And everyone is incredibly multi-talented and wears all the hats. So just about everyone who's involved with P3 is a performer and a singer and a dancer and a producer and a director. Like everybody is coming at this project from many different angles. And it's a lovely and warm environment to be in. Everyone's very supportive of one another, very thoughtful. And I always feel like I'm getting a warm hug when I walk into a room with the members of the P3 Theater Company. And what was your other question?
Why is it a unique theater compared to other small theaters?
Well, I think that the caliber of shows that John Peterson puts on are absolutely top-notch professional level. He seeks out and works with the absolute best people who are not only talented, but wonderful to work with as well, wonderful individuals. And also P3 gives back. It's very socially conscious. So P3 has a number of charitable donations, including helping children and veterans, and I love that. So P3 is very passionate about supporting its community and the arts.
When and why did you want to be part of the P3 Theater Company Jekyll and Hyde musical and concert event?
When John told me that he was going to be doing Jekyll and Hyde as a fundraising event, this was several months ago, probably back in the spring. And I knew right away if I was available, I wanted to be a part of it. This would be very exciting. I love the show. I've never done it before. I'd only heard music from it, but it's one that I'd always wanted to be a part of, and particularly for an opportunity to work with John and the P3 Theater Company members again. I was very excited. So yes, it was a yes right away.
Who is your character and what is she doing at the beginning of the story?
Okay, so the character that I'm playing in Jekyll and Hyde is Lucy Harris, and she is a prostitute who works at a place called the Red Rat, which is kind of a brothel, kind of a club. And this takes place in late Victorian England, and she's a very wounded young woman. She's a wounded butterfly. She's had to be tough her entire life. She's probably never known what it's like for anyone to love her. And when she meets Dr. Jekyll at the Red Rat Club, he shows her great kindness, which she probably hasn't been shown much of before. And she starts falling in love with him.
Why is Jekyll and Hyde the story and the musical still popular? And why do you think it is relevant today also?
I think Jekyll and Hyde is still popular because it's dramatic, it's so melodramatic. It's really fun. It's kind of labeled as a gothic, kind of a rock opera feel to it, even though it's a little bit in the line of Phantom of the Opera. But I think it's just because everything is so intense about this musical. It's everything that we love about melodrama. I mean, the bad guy, Hyde, is really, really bad, and we've got beautiful damsels in distress, and the music is fantastic. And the harmonies are wonderful in this show. So I think it's just one of those chills and thrills kind of shows that's definite escapism that people enjoy watching. And particularly at this time of year, as we're headed into Halloween, I think it's a perfect selection. I think it's relevant today and also some of the underlying messages in it are that there's a shadow side to all of us. So Hyde is obviously the antagonist in the story. He's evil, but I also think he showcases the potential within all of us to choose which side we're going to feed the most. Which wolf do you feed? The good wolf or the bad wolf? How much energy are you going to give it? We all have the potential within us to do great harm to ourselves and to others. And I think every day we have to make a choice about which one of us we're we're going to be and bring into the world and how much good we want to create in the world. So none of us are immune. So in that way, I think, yes, of course, we all have a little Jekyll and Hyde, don't we?
My next question is, why is Jekyll and Hyde's story and music a fan favorite by people who love musicals?
I think people love Jekyll and Hyde still, again, because it's so intense. It's a dark fairy tale, which we all love. And most fairy tales originally, when they were originally written before the Brothers Grimm got a hold of them, were dark. They were cautionary tales. They were scary tales. Don't go out after dark and beware of the witch in the forest that wants to eat you. So this one is along the lines of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein too. It's kind of got this gothic horror melodrama about it that we love. Um, and it's set in Victorian England, but also it's a little anachronistic because, of course, the music is poppy. And I think that's probably why people are so drawn to it. It's just so dark and eerie and mysterious and chilling and thrilling.
I never get the same answer with this next question, no matter what production I ask about. What are you looking forward to when you are performing live in the church, performing Jekyll and Hyde, the concert?
I'm most looking forward to two things. The actual experience itself, when everything magically comes together with the costumes and the lighting and the cast, because especially the cast will be rehearsing separately to a large degree because we live in different parts of Los Angeles. So a lot of the cast and ensemble are rehearsing in Long Beach, and some of us are rehearsing in Los Angeles. So we'll actually not be separated by distance anymore. So I'm looking forward to seeing everyone and working with everyone. And the second thing would be the most important ingredient is having an audience there. It wouldn't happen without them. So I'm looking forward to having friends and family and meeting new people who are maybe seeing a P3 production for the very first time, maybe seeing Jekyll and Hyde for the very first time. So I'm really excited to see the two elements combine.
Well, as a senior, are you looking forward to singing in that church because of the great acoustics too? Are you looking forward to, like, it almost feels like you're in a large theater. What are you looking forward as a singer?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Well, I've grown up singing in churches and yes, I love it. I think that theater itself is a kind of church. Um, Not necessarily where we worship, but where we come together in homage to something that's beautiful and bigger than ourselves. So I think it's actually a wonderful space to have the production in.
Now, I know this is a question like who's your favorite child or niece, but what is your favorite part or song in Jekyll and Hyde?
Oh, that's a good question. I think my favorite song in Jekyll and Hyde is a duet called In His Eyes. And it's a duet that my character Lucy sings with Emma. Emma is the ingenue love interest of Dr. Jekyll. She's his fiance. And Emma and Lucy sing a song about Jekyll, and it's beautiful, beautiful song. That's probably my favorite one.
Very important question. Why must the theater community, Jekyll and Hyde fans, music lovers come see the P3 Theater Jekyll and Hyde in concert one night event?
Well, first of all, it's just one night. So this is an absolute golden opportunity to come and see a bunch of incredibly talented people come together and create this beautiful, beautiful work of art that's going to be Jekyll and Hyde. So I think the energy in the room will just be off the charts. It will be a very special night with a lot of wonderful, kind, dedicated, and talented and experienced people pouring their energy and talent into this one production. So I think it's going to be a very magical and thrilling evening.
Back to the P3, why should more actors, directors, playwrights, and theater creatives get involved with P3 Theater Company?
I think P3 is incredible at nurturing its members and bringing out the absolute best in every single person, whether they're performing on stage or assisting off stage. I think that John Peterson, who this is his company, P3, I think he has an absolute gift for knowing how to bring out the absolute best in each person and discerning their talents and their energy and their capabilities and their personalities and casting his shows that way as well, like bringing out the absolute best. Even I think John is wonderful at surprising people with what they're capable of. So I think if someone is looking to work with the theater company to be involved in some way, this is a wonderful place to do it.
And I always ask this question because obviously the ticket sales don't cover an event. So it's nice for people to donate. So I always ask the question, why are theaters like P3 Theater so important to the community and needs the help and support from the local community too?
Well, I would say one of the reasons that it's worthwhile to support P3 Theater Company is the excellent caliber of its shows, the incredible productions that it brings forward, but also something that I mentioned earlier, and that P3 cares about the community and it gives back. Like John will give back absolutely every opportunity that he can for children, for education, for veterans, for the arts, and he's also incredibly really supports his arts community, other theaters. He's not stingy in holding all the talent or resources to himself. John really believes that when one succeeds, everyone succeeds. So he's very invested in supporting his theater company, but yes, all the other theater companies that he's met and worked with and knows of. He wants to support all of them because the arts are such a valuable part of our lives, and theater is worth keeping alive, especially post-pandemic. Hi, I'm Deborah Robin. I'm playing Lucy in P3 Theater Company's one night only fundraiser event for Jekyll and Hyde, the musical. It's going to be an incredible, inspirational, inspiring, passionate night. It's going to have some of the most talented actors in the Los Angeles area pouring their hearts and souls and voices into this production. It's going to be absolutely magical and thrilling, and I can't wait to see you there. See you at the theater.